So, hi, Darian. Thank you so
Hello.
much for joining the call.
Of course. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. Happy to.
So, my first question is about your company, which has been in the industry since 2013 and
Yeah.
has worked with a lot of big brands.
Yeah.
So, how does Jelly Marketing differentiate itself from other digital marketing agencies in terms of its unique approach and overall impact on clients' businesses?
Very good question. And I just want to firstly,
Right. There's about 12 minutes ago, but I just want to say, Darren, you have been modeling delivering value. Like with all the links that you're sharing and all the insights with no holding back. I just want to point that out to all the students right now as a meta kind of observation.
oh, you're so sweet, Crystal.
But Tiffany and Rahul, do you have anything else on your list that you want to cover?
Yeah, so I had one question. Like, there are a lot of international students doing
Yes.
MBA over here.
Nice.
So I just wanted to ask, like, how the international experience might transfer to Canadian
Oh,
market over
It's
here.
massive. It's huge. It's a superpower, right? In the same way, like some people, again, I don't know, would critique maybe less so nowadays, but would critique maybe someone who's indigenous. But the superpower and the flip side of an indigenous person is they've got really great understanding of like mentorship and having elders in their lives and storytelling. We grew up sharing stories and telling stories. And so what people might critique is like, oh, yeah, what is your English proficiency? What do you understand culturally? Like take those like critiques like that I still get and hear being indigenous and flip it on its head of like, here's my superpower though. Like you getting to work for like Lululemon, like I'm just using them as an example because they're in Vancouver in our backyard, got a few friends that work there, is like, you understand international marketing better than anyone. And if you're in-house and you're at the water cooler with people, like you understand what it's like you actually in your brain can fluently speak probably 1 to 4 different languages right now, where the people you work with around the room who maybe are a little more racist and a little more judgmental probably only speak one language. And they try to speak French and suck at it, right? Because they grew up, I don't know, I mean, they grew up in Canada, right? And so it's nothing against it. It's just like, but again, there's those stigmas, right? And that baggage from we're just in a racist world, right? And it sucks. And so, but if you can flip it on its head of like your resume, you can actually do like, I speak these 4 languages, but then don't just put that as like a fact, put it as a story. Like, why is that awesome? Like there's all sorts of studies and research and data that show like when you can speak more than one language, the way your brain works is at a really fascinating, elevated level of understanding. And you have a way deeper understanding of empathy, which is a huge thing needed for marketing. And so you've got that. Another thing you've got is like when you want to break into another market, like even if you want to break into like urban into rural, right? Or like you want to go rural into urban, or if you want to go like, man, we want to crack the Northeast United States, like you understand what it's like. And you've seen potentially maybe growing up, if you were Canadian born or if you were internationally born, brands that have tried to attempt to come into your part of the world and really sucked at it, right? Like there's a great story of Pepsi. They were competing with Coca-Cola quite a bit. And they had a slogan at the time in the 90s, which was like, come alive with a new generation. And they did this, like, man, we're going to launch in this part of China and it's going to be huge. We're going to take on Coke. They're not big there yet. And they went to the translation services. They bought all the out of home, like billboards. They got all ready. It was like a $6 million campaign they launched in this section of China. But what happened was smaller error. When they launched the campaign, it actually said like Pepsi Cola brings your ancestors back from the grave. They accidentally, it was a little mistranslation in the translation part, right? And so it's like, they just didn't think about it in America where they're like, oh, you just hire a translator, it'll work, everything will be fine, right? In the same way, you're like, oh, we can break into Quebec, let's just hire a translator from France, right? Where the France French is way different than the Quebecois French. And so you have like this massive superior understanding of like international trade, international launches, even e-commerce launches. Like you even understand human nature at a larger scale. Like our population in Canada is the same population as California. The population of the entire world compared to Asia, we're like 40% of the world, Asia is 60% of the world. And so like when you say, man, I want to reach every Canadian with this campaign, a marketing campaign, you're like, oh man, that's just my country. Like that's the country I come from. That's the city I come from. You can, not that you're gonna do it arrogantly and in a mean way, but you'll be like, dude, that's it. That's the town my mom's from, right? You're like, you got to think bigger, right? And so it's like, but those are all superpowers that like to have an outside voice tell you, like, put those in your resume. Like I come from a city of this many people. Like, I know what it's like to, need to read, like, you get that. And that's amazing. And no one else has that in that organization probably yet.
I think that really resonates with me because I come from a background in psychology and design and then marketing. So the things that you mentioned, like empathy, it is very important for marketing.
Yeah.
So from psychology, I gain those insights, and with design, I get like how to present our marketing. So, so I think those things could be presented in such a way that we create a story out of, our experience.
Totally. Yeah. And like, you're going to notice if like